me. Skirt. Hashtag HalfcastPodcast. Two guys half the size of each other, casting opinions. Happy New Year. You know what I mean? 2018. We made it.
We made it.
Did we? We made what?
Just about.
What did we make?
2017, I just about survived.
Yeah, innit? I know exactly.
Fuck me. Jesus.
We made something. I don't know what it is we made, but we made something.
Well,
and if
my girlfriend made some really good food yesterday. I thought I'd just throw that out.
No, we transitioned into another period, right?
Yeah,
It's a transition.
Transitioned into another period.
Well, have we though? Because if you're Chinese, then you haven't. That's what's so mad about the calendar. Do you even believe the calendar? Like
when is Chinese New Year? It's in like February, isn't it?
Time is technically, if you look at it, kind of like a man-made thing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Because it's just like an endless thing, right?
Yeah.
Until you're physically
But imagine
gone.
we didn't have no like dates.
We kind of
no
we don't
times.
as freelancers, really.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just
that's
sort of live
true.
our lives
I
from
don't
day
know
to
what
day.
That is
day it
actually
is most
true.
of the time. So
Sometimes
I wake up, I'm like, is it Sunday?
That's
Is
actually
it
true.
Tuesday?
When you're especially when you're self-employed, it's like every day is
judge
just
it
the
by your
same
gigs.
sort of day.
Do you judge it by your gigs? I judge it by like what job I have. Like if I have like Monday, because we do comments below football.
Yeah.
But I judge it by like football. I'm like, oh, there's a Champions League. Oh, February.
Oh yeah, okay.
Wednesday.
I
But
hear
don't.
you.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what day.
So if you didn't have a football interest and you was a freelancer,
Yeah.
days would just be days.
Because most people didn't have jobs. There'd be no like weekend wouldn't really be a weekend. It would
Well,
just
then
be-
you know what? It's funny that you say that, yeah, because then
Time.
that technically means, yeah, for me in January, every day other than what's today? Today's Thursday. Every day other than Thursdays for this month is practically a Sunday for me, because not much is happening other than the podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, literally, January is a quiet year for. This is why, yeah,
Quiet year,
You
wow.
see, quiet month. So see, like New Year's Eve, yeah. Obviously, I'm telling people I've got all of these bookings and that, and in people's minds, the first thing they're thinking is, "Right, you're making bare dough." Still, it kind of just averages out, kinda,
Because there's nothing going on.
because
in the
there's not
month.
much going on in January
hear
anyway.
you.
Do you get what I'm saying? So, you know, on that one particular day, yeah, it might be a lovely day for me. But January is a quiet year, and before that used to stress me out. That actually used to stress me out. Now I embrace it.
What's that?
Just having a little bit of a
nice.
chill time. Yeah,
Oh.
December for me is wild. Yeah,
Wild.
December for me is wild. The last couple of weeks in December for me is insane.
Is that due to work or just
Yeah,
the
it's
work?
due to
Okay,
work,
yeah.
so-
For me, that's the good thing about me. What me and Vuj do in terms of the copper stuff, and then what we do here with Halfcast, and pretty much all the work I do. That December period, I didn't do anything, and I'm making sure that happens every year because it is such a great time to just do nothing, sit down in my house with my kids. If I leave my house, it's to get electricity and gas. I won't go nowhere. I spent like 4 bills in Tesco's. Everything was packed. There's no reason for me to go anywhere now. Like, I know I'm set, and I just kind of like not doing anything.
Doing fuck all is brilliant.
It's
I love it.
amazing.
Yeah. Well, not for too long though.
I guess so.
Not for too long.
As long as you're happy.
Yeah, but this is it. As long as you're happy, it's all right.
Exactly.
When you go through that stage of not doing nothing for too long, bruv, have you ever had one of those?
I can't because I've got kids.
I'm trying to think.
Oh yeah, but prior to having kids, have you had
I had
one
a
of
girlfriend.
those?
No.
That's the thing. If you're single and you're doing nothing, then more time it could be a little bit. But my interpretation
What if you
of
got a
it,
girl, but you are doing nothing and you're broke?
I mean, wow. I mean,
Yeah. See, that's
someone
a
heard that
plausible.
upstairs.
I had to take it back. I was like,
Yeah, like they,
What?
yeah, like
It's
that.
mad.
That's
You know what it is? You know what it is? Not everyone's so driven. Just in general.
That's
Do you know what I'm
true.
saying?
That's
Like, do you know it's a mad like
That's
it's,
fine.
we proper take it for granted, like having drive and like ambitions and stuff. Some people don't have it. And
Yeah.
they don't want to do anything, and they don't really they want the peas and that, but they don't want the peas enough to actually do anything for the peas or to take any risks or anything like that.
I'm
So,
like on the line there sometimes.
yeah.
I couldn't
What do you mean?
But that's because you know
No,
money's
I-
obtainable, so you can like I have no problem doing nothing, but I can't do nothing for too long, or I begin to get a little bit depressed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was about for 24 years. I didn't have a job. I didn't do anything. Like I did nothing. I was so about. I was just like a cultured criminal kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's
he said a cultured criminal. That is incredible.
That's
yeah, as in
amazing.
like I didn't
Those
do
are
like the
amazing
more
two
primitive
words.
stuff like shotting and that. Like I was doing weird shit like Deets and Banksies and like you know what I'm saying. Like I was.
I
Like,
don't
on weird
technically
stuff.
put that as I know it's wrong what you're doing, but I don't actually
Did
see
they
that
catch
as
you?
doing nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, you went?
Yeah,
did
17
you
times
You
I
went
got-
pen, right? Did you go pen?
Yeah, but that was for something else. That
Okay.
was,
Yeah.
Did you say 17
I,
times?
yeah, 17 counts.
But the
At least
thing
you're
is,
being honest. I respect
yeah,
that.
exactly. But I don't see that as not doing nothing.
No, I hear that, but
You're still doing something.
I'll tell you why.
Because you're
I have
still
a
almost
problem.
occupying your brain. You're just not doing
Yeah,
it
yeah,
in
yeah.
the most
I hear
constructive way.
I hear that.
Do you get me?
But
when
it's
you're
not
not, like, to
trying,
me,
yeah.
doing nothing means you're just actually just not doing
Doing
nothing.
anything.
But if you look at it this way, though, right? Because you have to look at it from how we're looking at this. We're looking at it from a Western perspective, and we're living in this kind of life where we live in this society which is driven by action,
Yeah.
driven by what we do. Like, doing is then perceived as you are something.
As a result.
But there's many
that's true.
societies and there's many philosophies in the world where if you're not doing but you're happy, that's like the obtainable thing is if you go in like Buddhism, you went to Thailand, they look at it as like if you're content with your being, that's it.
I think that's the number one.
Because
But
that's
you know what I
actually
mean? But then,
like literally the main thing in
That is the main
we
thing.
actually think that by doing stuff, like by always doing stuff makes us happy. But sometimes you don't always have to do stuff to
doesn't.
make you happy.
Yeah.
Sometimes by
Moments,
doing
moments,
stuff
innit?
takes away from
But
your
I
happiness.
think you see, like how we are in charge of
That's
our
true.
own happiness, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not, and what makes us happy isn't what genuinely makes us happy, but it just fulfills
Because
us
a lot
for
of
a
the
time
time,
being.
what you think and what you feel will make you happy ends up not making you happy.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, like or
So-
it makes you happy for a like
It makes
you
you
buy
happy for a
something new,
moment. Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's like retail therapy. It makes you feel good for a minute.
Yeah.
You
But it's
realize
not-
everything is fleeting.
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah,
There's
Do you
not
know-
one thing that doesn't go and come.
Yeah.
Like the happiness and the sadness and the horniness and like it all just
Yeah.
All that
Yeah,
comes.
yeah, yeah.
Do
It's
you know what it
always
is?
it's
Only
true.
thing I will add is like when it comes to doing nothing and so on and so forth, I feel like everything the term is down to the individual. Most importantly, it's like your long-term goals. Like because I have a long-term
exactly.
goal and what I want to do, even me sitting down here doing nothing, if I've done nothing for like over the Christmas period, is calculated because I'm fully aware that I'm doing nothing now, but it's not gonna be like this forever. I need a little bit of a break. Do you know what I mean?
Work,
So
I think the complete opposite.
no, but that's just for that. But I
That's
don't
what I'm saying,
feel
that's
like,
why we work, I feel.
I don't think that
Okay.
applies for
Me and
everyone
him.
though. I feel that that's
Yeah.
just specifically for me. So I feel like when it comes to doing nothing, it is solely down to the individual. Because I've got other people I know that do absolutely nothing and are genuinely not happy. But that's down to confusion of what
But
they
then
want to
I
go and
also
do
know
long
many
term.
people that are very driven and do stuff and are quote unquote successful that are not happy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
of
that's
course.
depressed
It's balance.
people in the
I
world.
think the whole thing
It
is
is a
built on
lot
balance.
about
The whole
balance.
thing
That's
is
what
You
built
know
on
what? For
It's the
me
person,
though,
it's
for
the
me
individual.
personally, I feel like I do have to be doing stuff for me to be happy. But you know what?
Do you mind I ask you
but
one
you know what?
question,
It
though?
isn't about money though. That's the thing for
That's
me.
what I'm gonna say,
So it's
cool.
not like when I'm doing. It's like it's not about oh shit. I need to be making money. And then as I make money, that makes me happy. I just like to be active and doing certain things, and especially with a lot of the stuff that I do in my work, whether it be me being a DJ or having a conversation, like these things make other people happy, which makes me happy. Do you get me? So like those are the things that I enjoy doing a lot. That keeps me sane. If I stop doing it and I stop having the conversation, I stop playing music, and I stop interacting in that sense, then I think that would take away from my happiness.
I think what you said was really a key thing I picked up was reaction of other people makes them happy. I think potentially all of us in the entertainment field or the field we're in, I'm so happy when someone comes up to me on the street, honestly.
Yeah.
They're 15, 14, you know what I mean, 16, and it's when it happens, it just makes me, like if someone's smiling and they're like, oh you, because I remember like fucking when Roll Deep came to my school and I got a photo or whatever, and I was gassed. I didn't know who Roll Deep were, and I was like, oh, these guys are doing, and that to me is great. I think we do sometimes, a lot of us are doing it because you're bringing happiness to others. But then also there was Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you know Maslow, so it's like he goes like there's the bottom needs, which are like pissing, fucking, eating, and it's like the next one is like having a roof over your head, then the next one is like money, content, next one is self-actualization, where you've like self-actualized yourself. However, when he died, a top one was added, and that was the effect of giving back. And it's like when you've self-actualized yourself as a being, but then the top one is like sharing that and
that
like helping the
self-actualized
world.
one is a big one because I feel like half happiness might be some kind of equation between where you expected you'd be at this point in your life and where you actually are. And I reckon people who are happy or content in their life are where they imagined they'd be at this point in their life, or if they're in a place.
Potentially. I what I'm
what I'm
I've
saying?
never
I
even
feel like-
evaluated that in my mind, so I couldn't even tell you.
But you see, like if you always knew that, by 25 I wanted X amount of money or a kid or whatever it is, and you have that by 25 or more than what you envisioned, then I feel like you're happier than a person who kind of set a plan that, you know, I wanted this by a certain age and you never made it.
Do you know why? Do you know what? Could I say why? There's in some situations where I agree with that.
No,
just through some people that I've met. Yeah, that like I've met. Like for example, you see, like one of the reasons why I realized I was unhappy at one point was because of that. Because I remember sitting there thinking to myself one time, like I was going through this period, yeah, where I was proper unhappy, very demotivated, couldn't get up out of bed, like I was in not a good space, but I was trying to analyze why that was, and I think I found out a part of that reason, yeah, and a part of that reason is off what you said. When you're a kid, see, like as a young kid, yeah, when you say to like a 14-year-old, what are you gonna have by the time you're 30? Then you say, I'm gonna have a castle, I'm gonna drive a Ferrari, I'm gonna have all this money in the bank, all of these things. So some kids, not all, but some kids, yeah. And I would have been that kid, yeah. I would. There's all these materialistic things that I would have wanted by the time I was that age. You say to a young girl, what do you want? Sometimes, not all of them, but some girls are gonna say, you know, by the time I'm this age, I want to be married, I want to have kids, I want to have a family, and whatever. Now, what happens is, when you get older, sometimes you start realizing that life doesn't always work out like that. Yeah. And for
Definitely
me,
doesn't.
Exactly. For me, I started to realize, like I'm analyzing my life and I'm thinking every year was sick. Like it just got better and better and better. But then it just started to do this. So every year, instead of it going up and up, it was just the same. And I felt like I was being stagnant. Yeah, and I was not progressing. And then I'm looking at like I don't have a castle. I wasn't driving. I didn't have X amount of money and all of that. And then that was what was making me unhappy. And then I had to snap out of that. I thought, hold on a minute. Yeah. Like all of these are just mad materialistic stuff that like I shouldn't be counting on for my happiness.
But it's a big part of your persona though, because you would have set those targets from such a young age when you didn't realize what you were even doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
but the thing is, me, I'm completely different. I didn't do any of that.
Okay.
I lived when I was younger. The reason why I think I was so happy, I lived from day to day. Okay. So the new day was like, what am I gonna accomplish today? Yeah. It was never, what am I gonna accomplish in a year's time? That was far too. We lived in an estate, so it was like, bro, all right, cool. So today when I woke up, I'm like, yo, Chris Bell, I'm gonna link you. We're gonna go play football. Like it was such small, obtainable targets. Yeah. I was always happy.
But that's the thing.
No. But this is when I think life became very confusing for me. Was when I got a lot older. You can't live like that anymore. It's just not feasible. And most importantly, you don't really, I didn't have a sense of what I actually wanted to do long term in general. So where everything around me was moving, I just felt quite static. I just didn't know what I was doing from one day to the next. I was waking up and I couldn't have the mentality of 11-year-old of, yo, what you doing? Because like now my happiness is in control of like, I'm not in control of it. It was always down to Chris Bell, what you doing? If Chris is linking me, then I'm getting happy. I'm going to link Chris and I'm going to link Smiler. Then I'll try to strip it all back and just be like, Paul, what do you want to do? Like, what do you genuinely want to do? What are you passionate about? And then when I found out what I was passionate about, that's when I started becoming a lot more happier within myself, because all I ever done was fuel my passion. And that's what allows me to do all the things that I want to do. It's because I'm passionate about it. But the moment I'm not passionate about even this, for example, anymore, I just wouldn't do it because it will just get me back to the point where I'm unhappy again. So I just try and do whatever I'm passionate about to make me happy, so that for money doesn't come into play, nothing. It's just pure, genuine happiness.
It's freedom. For me, I love freedom. So my whole life, I kind of lived free, as in I didn't really have much rules. I kind of lived day to day like that. I still had like a real long-term goal, but it was never yearly or monthly or whatever. I just kind of knew when it's all said and done, I want the house, the family, all of that, and just the freedom to kind of be financially well off enough to kind of do what I want to do, not flipping Bugattis and that, but as in like just be able to do what I want when I want.
Yeah, I like that. That for me, I'm similar to you.
So it meant that I had the freedom of just going to play football randomly. Or catching a flight randomly, blah 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 blah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and then I became a bit more driven, and then the studios and music and this and that. Yeah. It started to become my passion, and then I became driven by that.
And that's what I'm telling you. See your passion, it fuels your drive.
But do you know why it's a double-edged sword though, Paul? Do you know why it's a double-edged sword? Because if I just did like where I'm at now, I am content right now. But if I'm exactly here in 10 years, which is...
That might be different.
I might not be so because I haven't done that.
You won't.
None of us will.
Every period of time, things change in life, and your mentality changes, your outlook on life changes. There's just your perspective changes.
Change is like the only constant.
Yeah, that's true.
We feel that.
That's what's so mad.
We feel that maybe we're stuck and everything, but the world is changing. Look at how much has changed in a year.
Yeah,
if I look at myself a year ago, I look at myself now, it's drastic, internally, externally. But maybe like gratefulness and just like we're here.
The actual human side of things, rather than
we're here, like we're alive.
Did I say last time that there was a study saying that too much dough or too much money can
after what was it?
I think it was like 120 or 130 grand per annum. Yeah, it can have a negative.
Yeah, you said
thing
that. Yeah, you said that.
I can imagine that because then you're driving for more.
Yeah, and exactly. It's an infinite game. There is no.
How was 2007 for you, man? Though
2007 hard, funky house.
I always do that.
Cold.
You know I did that in a rave.
Baptista played for Arsenal.
You know I did that in a rave.
I won the league.
You know I did that in a rave.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I said something like
Was that
it's
funky
gonna be
house
the end of 2007, and then people was looking at me and I was like, teen. I knew what I was saying. Nah, but genuinely,
2007 was great.
Yeah, how was 2017 for the man then?
For me, probably the most difficult year of my life.
Is it? Yeah.
By a country mile.
I would say the same.
By a country mile. The changes were too drastic for me, and the transitions were so and they were so drastic, and I never even had time to comprehend what was going on. It just sort of happened, and you have to adapt. And when that's happening so frequently in my life, where it's a little bit more structure, just kept catching me off guard. Every minute I'm just caught off guard. I'm just like, what do I do? But then the beauty about it is, it's made me such a stronger person that like catching me off guard, you never catch me off guard because I don't even have like an expectation.
Are you sure?
What, could get caught off guard?
No one catches you off guard.
Really?
Are you sure?
Who caught me off guard?
No, I'm just.
Not in general, no.
I like this because
do you know what?
I
Do you know why?
like this because Voods really knows phone.
Okay, but
someone caught you off guard yesterday, bro.
But you know what it was? All the things I got caught off guard yesterday, last year I actually had an influence in, and if I look back on it, it was like, you didn't really catch me off guard. I just didn't care about it. I've done something. It's almost like you have sex with a girl, and then you eradicate the process that she can get pregnant. And then when she says she's pregnant, you're like, oh, how did this sort of, oh my God, and now there's a child here. You're like, oh my God. But really and truly, I never got caught off guard. I just was never prepared for anything. So I got caught off guard down to my own doing. Whereas now, like, I don't even put too much, because I don't really put too much pressure on myself to like sort of know anything or anything like that. I'm just like, well, something happens, it happened. Cool. I don't have any expectations of it. Yeah. Nothing like that. So more time now, I'm just cool. I'm just a bit more prepared in my mind for things. So, for example, if anything happens, I just don't think, apart from something drastic like a fucking hurricane or a tsunami, but in terms of my own personal life, all the things that caught me off guard in terms of family, the amount of things I heard from my own family last year, I'm just like, wow. And it's because I have expectations of my family. So when I hear that, I'm like, how the hell could that have happened? Like, what do you mean that's happened? Whereas now, I heard something yesterday, I was just like, well, would you expect, man, type of thing. So I feel a little bit better. Well, this year I think I feel more prepared.
I hear that. Vuji. Oh yeah, by the way, for those listening, Vuj is here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just in case you didn't know. Obviously, Poet Savage Dan.
What made you go like that? And like, are you sure?
Because I wanted to poke you a little bit.
Oh, that's fair enough.
See, because you're thinking about it already.
No, because you know what? It starts thinking to myself, I wonder if something's happened within. Fair enough. Yeah, so I'm cool.
No, nothing. I just feel
jogging
sometimes we as humans are so confident in what we believe in that we sometimes.
But it's relative, though. 'Cause I'm not talking about what you consider being caught off guard. I'm talking about what I consider getting caught off guard, and all of the things.
Like everybody's got a different.
So my perspective is very mad personal. Yeah. It's mad personal, and the things that I got caught off guard about, you wouldn't get caught off guard about. You would look at it, and so I'm just like, why did I do? Like, I'm disappointed.
I think that's a good thing about friendships, by the way.
What's that?
Because certain things that I might feel like I've been caught off guard on, or might have made me feel some type of way, whether it be good or bad, I get a perspective. A trusted perspective from a person that I trust. And although they might look at things very different, their perspective could help me a little bit in how I look at the outcome of a certain situation. Do you get me?
Of course.
But anyway. Vuji.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was 2017.
Yeah. For you.
Fucking hell.
It's mad, isn't it?
It was mad.
Is it?
I can't really go into detail about many things, but wow.
Serious.
I could write a book, really.
Serious,
by
yeah?
now.
You should.
Mental,
No,
fam.
yeah, maybe.
Shit, man. A couple
It's
more
mental.
years.
I mean, for me, I guess a massive point for me was Grenfell and the Corbyn election.
Yeah.
So like the Corbyn thing, obviously, I was backing him because I've been a supporter for years and stuff. I'm not left or right before anybody comes to me in comments. I don't care about left or right. Don't branch me in any of them fucking categories. I care about what I think is the truth, or what I feel intrinsically there is a truth to. So when Corbyn came along, I felt a truth and a message.
So you was on
So
that.
I'm not Labour. Anybody's like, oh, you should. No, I'm not Labour.
Yeah.
I'm not Tory. I'm not Green.
You're just
No,
truth.
I go with
You're
what
just
I
what you feel is the truth.
right. And
Yeah.
that was it. That's why I backed him, because I feel something there is right and aligned
Yeah.
with the needs of young people and a progressive evolution of humans and maybe our society.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean left or right. If it was Tony Blair or someone else and they're talking, no, I'm not voting, drop me out, you do that, I'm fine. I'm living my life. But no, I think massive in it. I realized a lot about myself and the world, and then obviously Grenfell happened. That was a very emotional and painful, and it took me a while to get over that. I
That
still
was
probably
crazy.
am not, because it triggers me.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of that stuff in a private life, like, wow, mental, absolutely mental. But then on work as well, hectic.
Yeah.
I feel the main thing was I realised maybe I take stuff too personally, and maybe overthink stuff and overdwell into stuff, and then
I used to do
overlook
that.
into stuff. And
I used to do that. You
Which
could
is
say one
okay.
thing to me, and I would
Yeah.
take it very, very
Potentially.
personally.
Yeah.
I can't. For me, I can't stop. I do analyze a lot,
Oh my
I do
God,
analyse a lot.
Yeah.
and I can't help that. That's just something that I can't help. But what I can help is how I react to it. Do you get me? So if you say something to me and I overanalyze it and I make it feel, and I all of a sudden it makes me feel some type of way, I could either do one of two things. I could react verbally and say something and then make it become a bigger thing, or I could take a step back from it. Do you know what? Yeah, who was it who said this? I think it was Dave Chappelle. Yeah, where he was saying that, like, sometimes if you're standing too close to the elephant, all you can see is the elephant's dick in its legs.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to just take a few steps back. No, actually, I don't even think it was him.
We do when you're like outside of a situation.
Yeah,
you can do it better.
and then so you can like
Yeah,
look at
see,
the whole
yeah.
picture. And that's just something that I personally have tried to do more, because I'm not gonna
we
lie,
all do
bro. I could
I
do
think we all do. I'm not great at
Definitely
taking
I do.
criticism. Like, I'm just not very good at it. Like, I
What,
don't
taking
really give
criticism?
myself
Is
enough.
it?
Yeah, as in, I can take it, but it dwells on my head. Like, if someone says something negative about me, like my character or whatever it is, then
Does
I
your
might
stomach
think,
start? You start getting these feelings in your
You know what
stomach
it is,
and that.
yeah? There's something that, like, I want to counter it immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then
Defensive.
if it's something that isn't, like, you didn't say it out of, like, malice,
Yeah.
then it has to come from somewhere quite constructive. Like, you're just saying something, it's an observation, and you have every right you have in the world not to like me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's nothing to do with me.
Sometimes it's who says it, how it's being said.
And also just the mood I'm in.
True.
But even if I'm in a good mood, like a criticism of me, I think I take it worse than I think I take it.
Okay.
I
When
feel
I'm
like-
hungry, I'll take it bad. And also, I think because I'm similar, I used to be similar to that, but I think my biggest problem was I always wanted to understand. I took
Yeah.
everything personal, because I was just
Yeah,
like, but why
yeah.
are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
Whereas now,
And
I'm
then
just
there'll be
like,
100 people that say you're great, and then there'll be that one person that says, I'm not, you're just shit.
No, but
and
Dan,
whatever.
but
And you'll
Dan-
just be like, wait, why am
Yeah,
I
you gravitate
shit?
to the
Like,
person who
yeah,
says
that's it.
the negative thing.
No, but even down to not even so much criticism, just things in life. For example, I work heavily with Vuj, so sometimes the way Vuj will react to something will be just like, and I'll look at Vuj and be like, but bro, look what my man's doing. Why are we not going? And I was just like this angry person.
Yeah.
But then I realized that was just more to do with me than it was to do with absolutely anything else. So whatever that person is doing is actually not because of me. It's because of that's how that person is, and when they're in these circumstances, that's how they react.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, I don't really care, man.
That is my, I guess a lot of my I did a lot of like looking within
Yeah.
over 2017, and still that's just a journey in it, which maybe is good to speak about at another time. But conditioning is a massive one.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
we're all speaking,
that's in the process. That I mean,
And it's always
conditioning happens
happening.
every day,
of
like
course,
all day.
but we're always potentially speaking from past conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
So I I mean, when Jim Carrey started saying certain things, I was really deeply resonating because I am not me.
Yeah.
I am not Vuj.
Yeah.
I am,
saw,
but I'm not Vuj.
And it's funny how they try to make Jim Carrey just seem like he's an
not
absolute
nuts.
lunatic.
No, but like if you look at it from different perspectives, if you actually look at different philosophies and learn about them and how people view the world, how we view the world is not the only way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And like we get so caught up in this conditioning of,
Totally.
and then we apply all our past experiences of what we've been through to the now, and then obviously the future as well.
Yeah.
And if you look at even maybe mental health, maybe many reasons why it does occur and why we have a crisis in the West now, is because we're so up here.
Yeah.
Everything is up here.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite guys I've been listening to for a while. I've been reading his books for a while. Eckhart Tolle.
Okay.
So he's like a spiritual teacher, but he's American and stuff. And at first, when I first started watching, I thought he's a weirdo, whatever. And I was listening more and more, and he spoke about this thing of human evolution. And he says, in the West, there are these crises of mental health and division and fighting and because we're so in our head. Yeah, so when he says one thing which I think was actually really true was when we were people before, we were in touch with nature and our beings.
Yeah.
So we would react off what's going on, and we'd be our senses would be alive. And but then as we evolved, our brains had to be used. So we had to build stuff, and we had to build castles and then fight, and then there was wars, and then there was this, and then we evolved into like capitalism, and then we had these big buildings, and then we had money, and we made a monetary system. And like, all of this is amazing, really. Yeah. Like how amazing humans are. But what he said was it being in touch with the world, it went so up here that we forgot about
everything
who we, like beings who we are. So now we're at a stage where we've evolved so much technologically, we don't really need to evolve more. We don't need more money. Yeah. We don't need more success. We don't need another car. Like we've got to the stage where our brains have done so much that now it's in conflict because what's going to bring you that happiness?
I think even off what you just said,
how are you going to
like maybe even part of that conditioning is like a lot of people are conditioned more on the needing as opposed to wanting.
But even
there's a difference
as well.
in it. Like people feel like we need whatever it is that we
even
need.
like political systems, it's like
sometimes it's like, do you want it though?
Yeah.
Do you want it? That's a completely different thing. Because sometimes I might feel like I need something, but
let's be honest.
Why do I need it? Why do I need it? Why do I need it?
But it's an evolution. Like humans and societies and the world is evolving. Yeah. So even like Trump and like stuff, the bad shit, the quote unquote bad shit, is all part of the process of us reaching a new stage.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, like people in general, like we're maybe okay and we're realizing stuff and we're working and whatever, but the general person maybe on the road isn't that happy. Why is there such increases in depression, anxiety, suicide, men killing each other?
Social media.
It's because we have come to a stage where now like all of what we thought isn't.
And all of what we see is made by man. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing. It doesn't matter where we look. The only place we can look is up from this room to see something that wasn't made by us. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Like they say, I was reading one thing the other day that said it's very important to still ground yourself, as in not necessarily thing, but as in like we can go for months and months without putting our actual foot on like soil. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're in a house. We're in shoes. We're walking on tarmac. You know what I'm saying? So they're saying just the importance of being able to like
nature is important.
Connect.
Do you know what? I have to agree with you, because when Vuj said nature and the evolution of man, what lets me know what changed me completely, and I change every single day, and I don't even have any say in the situation. I just notice changes is Zion and Khalifa. Yeah. I tell you right now, there's no one situation you lot will have in life that will be more breathtaking than watching life be come into the world, especially from a cesarean perspective. Like that 5 minutes, or I think it was 3.5 minutes, that Zion doesn't respond, so there's no crying, is at the time like 3 hours. It is fucking hard, fam. Yeah,
I could imagine, bro.
That was fucking, that killed me.
Yeah.
That fucking killed me. And I remember staring at Yasmin's face and convincing her everything's gonna be okay, and I didn't even have a clue.
Yeah. You can't control that.
I fucking hate that, man.
That's real, bro.
Yeah.
So
I could. Do you know what? I can't even imagine what that would be like, bro. Seriously,
it's mate, and that's just Nate, and like
that's nature.
with all like the medicine and all like the technology that's been like, nothing could help Zion.
Yeah.
There's nothing that could have helped Zion. The only thing that was going to help Zion was a higher energy from above, and literally when they backed away, I heard him crying. So it was nothing they actually impactfully done. It wasn't like them over him. They backed away and I saw the confusion, and then all of a sudden you just heard him cry.
What did that feel like?
Oh, fucking hell.
What did that feel like? Describe that. Talk on that.
You can't. There's no word in the dictionary that could justify it. There's no word in the dictionary that could do it justice.
Yeah.
Hearing your son cry, and and even today when he cries, Yasmin's like, oh, and I was like, Yasmin, do you know what's so funny about you complaining about him crying? There's a moment in our lives where we both prayed to God he cried. Yeah. So every time I hear Zion and Khalifa cry, I never complain.
Yeah, I hear that.
Because it was just
I never complain about kids crying.
I never complain.
They're crying on the plane. That's kids.
That's their kids. Do you know what I mean?
You were a kid.
That's so real.
But a lot of people just forget.
So real.
That's what I'm saying.
Just life.
But it's
That's
because of
mad,
what
bro.
Vuj said. What Vuj just said, it
we're in a
just
mad
resonated
place.
in my head so much.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, like that is. And then I had a mad journey for the rest of the year because I was just trying to figure out my whole head. But I think honestly, as I got to the end of it and I started speaking more to Vuj and listening more to Vuj, I actually realized that none of this shit is even important. I've never felt the way I felt on the 24th of March ever. Like none of this shit is even. I don't even care about. Like usually January sales, I'm phoning everyone saying.
Same.
Yeah.
Yo, back in the day, Boxing Day, I was
in the morning. In the morning. Man's out at 7 in the morning.
River Island for no reason.
Do they still do that? By
I
the
don't
way?
even like River Island.
Do they still do exactly?
Nah,
Do
they got
do
online
River
shopping
Island
now.
still? Do they do that?
They
now?
got online shopping. We
Because
got online
remember back
nothing.
in the day, they used to open at 7 in the morning or something like. I'd be
Bro,
out.
people
I'd
were
be
really out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see
yeah.
like parts of the for me like mad experiences. Obviously, a poet having kids and then stuff that's happening in the world. Like we're all transitioning, and perhaps I look at it a very different perspective, and the audience is going to kill me a little bit for being a hippie. But
I killed all the time.
it's like it's a growing thing as humans, and then I was back to that point of like we've become so in our heads can't work out how to love, how to be, how to enjoy life. You can't tell your head enjoy life.
Yeah, you can't. No.
Go on,
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah. yeah.
Like it's got to just come in it. Like
But you know, so sad though, Vuj.
have fun.
From our working perspective, how much do they try to infringe that on you? They'll switch cameras on and be like, "All right, cool, entertain."
People don't
and
get
they'll
that.
like, and
But
no
it's
one
a
gets
natural-
it.
Can I just say that's why I don't like about. That's why have you noticed I don't do that here.
I know
Yeah,
you
of
don't.
course.
So we
yeah.
don't. I
It's
don't
a
do this
natural
whole
thing.
start.
Yeah.
Because I don't. I just like.
It's fun
organic.
sometimes.
Good energy. As in,
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I
yeah.
understand it from like you know what I mean, from a visual point of view or whatever it may be. But I just from
I
how
think
I like
Alternatives.
things to
Like
work,
I feel like we're finally the world is looking at alternatives and different points of view.
Yeah.
And it's like what we're saying about the whole thing was like when we were back in those days. What Eckhart was saying is we didn't have a consciousness of that we were like that.
Yeah.
We were just in
Wow.
touch with the earth.
Yeah.
So now we've reached a point where we consciously are now clocking something isn't right. No, but I don't actually think like that. That was something that I learned from my teacher. Or wait a minute. So we're now learning all this. We've built everything.
Yeah.
We're comfortable. We don't need to build more buildings and blocks and more cars and more, like we've come to the stage of cool. The monetary system is cool.
Yeah.
But now it's like the human is probably gonna evolve into getting back in touch with the earth. But now they have an awareness of it.
Yeah.
So now we'd be able to go, you know what? Yeah, I'll make some music. After I'm just gonna Whereas before, like back in those days, they would just be like,
Yeah.
So we're gonna be in a better position because now we're gonna know
Have
how
the
to,
knowledge of everything.
but also be aware of it.
Yeah.
The thing
But
is,
that's like
right
a
now,
point.
when you look at it, I mean, like obviously we're in England, in London or whatever. This is like, it's quite an unhappy place
Blood.
in general. Yeah?
Fam!
You go to like a favela in Brazil or go to anywhere,
More
usually
smiles.
anywhere in.
But when I go to
everyone's
Serbia, I
happy.
fucking love it, fam.
You see what I'm saying? So
People
like,
have no money.
Yeah,
300
There's
euros
a
a month.
huge correlation between like the financial capitals of the world's happiness
Yeah.
and third world countries' happiness.
But there's something in that. And that's what I'm saying. Is like we
Yeah.
we need to.
It's just maybe it's just the way that we measure happiness in it, and that's a society thing.
Yeah.
Like here, a lot of the time, what we was talking about before, we or a lot of people have what's the word, like the thing between like happiness and money. So it's like people think
Correlation.
correlation between happiness and money. Yeah. Whereas other places is more not everywhere, but it's not so much about money, but more about your health.
I don't even know if it's between money, but is it between happiness and success? But
That
how
as
we
well.
measure
Well, yeah.
success
Well,
here
how we
is
measure-
money.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
fame.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
And
fame.
fame.
But
And
all of that,
followers.
but all of that,
It's all
there's
numbers,
money
innit?
involved in that.
But it's
But
all
if you
numbers.
if you look at some
And
photos I put
exactly,
up,
it's a
All
numbers
numbers.
game.
That's why I can't value numbers,
how
because
I
numbers
felt.
don't end.
Yeah.
you're saying
Yeah.
like stuff I put up online. I mean, I haven't. I don't share everything, but if you maybe went into my room the next day and like, what the fuck, what's wrong with Vuj?
Yeah.
But you look online, it's like, but you know, it's an evolution, isn't it? But even like all the shit thing that's happening, like I've always said it, when Trump happens, when all these things happen, we need it.
Yeah.
We need it to wake up.
Said it from day one.
Yeah.
Like when he happened,
Yeah.
I was like, yes, fam, wake up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I remember back in the day, even like the BBC, then a doc, something about Gaddafi, right? So there's a doc on like Gaddafi and how the world is, etc. And it was like Tony Blair was friends with Gaddafi, then we bombed him because Gaddafi actually had an idea for the African gold currency, which was going to unite Africa. And they're talking about this on the BBC. 5 years ago, if you had stated that publicly, you'd be a crazy lunatic conspiracy theorist who is so crazy, and obviously he's just a warmonger. I'm not saying Gaddafi's good, don't get me wrong.
But he definitely had some decent policies.
But what I'm saying is like now alternative points of view are being almost accepted.
Appreciated,
Like, this is not me saying it. This is the BBC made a documentary and put it out there and said, you know what, this is probably why it happened.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wait a minute. Why is now the BBC talking about this?
Yeah.
So something's happening. Like the shifts are happening. Like Donald Trump is the president of the biggest nation. So you're telling me you're just going to blame Donald Trump. How did we get there?
Exactly.
So we have to look at the 100 years beforehand, how this nation was built. We have to look at why. We have to look at how did he get in power.
Not even 100 years before. That whole what's upsets me.
everything.
Do you know what upsets me about America? Just and sorry to make it very
Even Theresa
ethnocentric.
May here, we
Like-
can't just be like bam, 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 it's them. And that's what I think the left. That's why I don't want to be left. At times I get caught up in it, like bitching about the other side.
Yeah.
But the more we do that, the more the division exists.
Yeah,
The more I'm
100%.
like, Katie Hopkins, people were like, fam, when I spoke to her, even fam, this is when I clocked it. And when I changed, she came at me, right? And on camera, and like I was a bit nervous before, and I was like, I'm gonna take her on. Like I'm an immigrant, I'm a refugee, like, you know, I'm ready. And she's coming at me, and I'm feeling the anger.
In
rising.
the stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
I
see
know
it
that
though.
feeling.
But then I'm like, but then I was thinking, like I was feeling it through, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. Like you didn't see this thought process
Yeah.
in me, but I was like, breathe. Wait, why? How did she do that? Wait, what is it? How did she manage to trigger me? And like in my head, this is happening. I'm like, wait, off camera, she was cool.
Yeah.
By the end,
Yeah.
she was blessed. And off camera, we're talking about Air Maxes, we're talking about life.
Yeah.
But then it made me think. I went, if they trigger me like that, people like that, right? And I react, they've got me.
100%.
They've got me.
Yeah.
They have branded me as the refugee immigrant boy who's angry at people that don't think like him.
Yeah.
And if they've got me, that means I'm going to be angry. I might get violent if they carry on that way.
Yeah.
That means you've got me.
Yeah.
No.
Then you
power,
feed
it's
into
power.
everything
Yeah,
that they're
it's
saying.
But then I said that isn't the way.